This episode of Super Pulp Science is brought to you by Strange Brew, available on Steam now.
Attention, citizens! It's time for Super Pulp Science!
This is Super Pulp Science, where we talk about how genre gets made. I have two returning guests today and one begrudging producer on the show today. Devin and Skillen are here to talk about Strange Brew, their video game that they have just within the last 24 hours released into the world. Gentlemen, how do you feel?
Tired mostly.
Yep, tired, somewhat numb.
Now, you said just before we started recording, I asked, how are you feeling? You said, I've had no time for feeling. That was your
Yeah, had to suppress it.
direct. So, for those who don't know how a video game is released, for those who don't know what a video game is, I want you to do two things here. You're going to describe the game to gamers first, and you can use any lingo, any idiosyncratic social group talk that you want from dev level, and then you're going to have to do some code switching into nobody knows what any of that means, and you're going to describe the game to a regular person. So we'll let you start in your native language here first. As devs, tell me what you made and how you made it, and how long it took you to make it.
Actually, it's slightly difficult to just describe it in gamer terms because, like, there's not really a ton of games that play exactly like the game that we made. So,
Okay, let me ask you this. How is it not like Pepsi Man?
there's no auto run anymore.
Okay, no auto run. See, you don't see that as a specific term, but it is. So, auto run, keep going. What else is it like?
What else is it like?
Talk to the devs. Talk to the other people like you. Talk to your own people here now.
It is a platformer game, 3D platformer, where you are running away from zombies. That's probably the best way that I could just describe what the game fundamentally is. It's a game about getting chased.
Okay, then I'm going to ask Devin to do this for me. In layman's terms, describe a platformer as if someone has never played a video game before.
You have to jump from surface to surface and get good at it.
It's a virtual agility course. Like,
Yeah.
you know what dogs run through and stuff? It's that, but like
But
you're
humans.
Yeah. For gamers.
So platformers, I will tell you, are my least favorite kind of game. My sons, who are 14 and 16 now, will always take great delight in having me play a platformer with them so that they can show how much better their hand-eye coordination is to their aging father, how their reaction time is sharper, how their ability to anticipate what's going to happen next by the subtle cues of level design, how they understand the language of it, whereas I don't. And if I want to mop the floor with them, I play any version of a game that is emulating Street Fighter.
Oh,
Any game that is copying Street Fighter at any level of its DNA, they cannot touch me in.
Right on. You're a fighting game player. That's actually like much more my personal jam as well. So
But what I'm saying here is that how a game is designed is similar to how a genre is created in storytelling. That there are clues and subtleties that the people who know what's going to happen next, and they are delighted by it. And those that don't know are surprised by it and sometimes off-put by it. So let's talk about Strange Brew as a story. The story of Strange Brew, as I understand it, is there's this poor fellow who is the mascot of a coffee company, and his company has inadvertently, or maybe overtly,
Yeah,
released
find out.
a horrible plague on the world through its pumpkin spice lattes.
Yeah.
And it's turned everyone into pumpkin spice zombies. And only by keeping his energy up, by constantly guzzling espresso and coffee, can he keep the pace of his escape going. And my favorite thing about the game is that you get to be dressed as a giant duck, as the moon duck mascot, and that you try to keep your hat on the whole time. That's like really, for me, the core mechanic of your game is I want to get through the level and keep my duck head on. Because the first thing that happens if you get hit, dear listener, is your duck head comes off.
Yeah, you likely won't be keeping your hat on.
Yeah.
You haven't even seen the new costumes yet, have you, Greg?
No, I know you've been building skins and
There's a bunch of
developing.
them,
Yeah, there's all
Well,
kinds
the
of
costumes were miraculous to get into the game, but I am so happy. Now that they're in the game, I can't imagine the game without them. And
Yeah.
I have a couple favorites. I don't know. I hope everybody specifically has a favorite skin that they unlock.
Okay, this one, because of your grinning ear to ear as you brought this up, it obviously connects to what you find fun about some stuff. But just like in editing the story, that didn't come till the end, right? Near the end of the process, where you finally realized another thing you could add that lifted the whole piece up, right?
Yeah, I mean, we had planned to have it in, and it kept getting delayed because we had,
Other things were-
had to make the game feel good first.
Yeah, other things were too broken, so it's
Yeah.
like, well, okay, we'll hold off on that, and then a series of very, very long days occurred, and a lot of things got fixed, and then we found time to get the costumes in. Well, sometimes you have to manufacture a couple extra hours in a day, like.
You have to take those espresso shots yourself, right?
Oh yeah. I think my coffee consumption matched Joe's in the game at times.
And now that you're free, have you returned to a normal sleep schedule? Did life suit you so well?
No, because we got a new cat.
Oh,
Well,
Yeah.
so you've added a different psychotic element to your life.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, just got to keep it chill.
So you're a glutton for punishment is what you're telling me.
I'll try. Not intentionally, it just happens.
How did the game change from when you said, we're going to make a game, to we have now released it on Steam?
It's playable now.
That is the developer answer.
okay, so initially there were several, in retrospect, highly questionable things that were cut out of the game. There was like a whole puzzle mechanic. There was like a mini game in between levels where you'd like brew coffee, and that, thank God, was cut.
You had to learn to be a barista mid-levels?
It was just like a interlude, really, just a separate game inside of your game, which was honestly not a good idea. There was
Aren't these your ideas?
no,
No.
no, they were my ideas on it. A lot of them, or there were things that like, it's one of those things where you can only say no to so many things at a time, right? So then like you do some work and then you get stuff done, and then the game starts to take a little bit, it starts to take shape, and then it's like, hey, this other thing doesn't fit in, and then sometimes you need somebody else to. Sometimes the actual key is you're waiting for like basically the group to just kind of spontaneously come to the consensus that we need to just not do this dumb idea that initially we thought was good, and then that's just how you do it.
So like when you're talking about story making, sometimes people will use the analogy that the story demands a certain thing of a character or demands a certain thing of the writer. When you're talking about feeling the group understand the shape of the game,
Yeah.
right? And that an imaginary consensus arrives where everyone's like, yes, let's cut being a barista out of the gameplay. How do you know it's coming? Like, what is it in a group dynamic when you're buried in code, when you're pushing things around, when everything is a weird wireframe with physics lines that like it looks like a madman's playhouse when you guys are behind the scenes making this stuff? How do you know that it has the shape you want? Or don't you? How much of it is an act of faith?
I mean, how do you know the like when do you know the shape or like the structure of your story, right?
Well, it's a good question. It's a good counter question. If
I
I
do have an answer, by the way.
yeah. So but I'll be really specific.
That's it. No more Mr. Nice Duck.
If it's a short story, a novella, or a novel, there are different rules. And so first I have to know the length, the total length.
Yeah.
And then depending on the length, I know how many different changes of scene are going to be even possible within a story with my skill level within that shape. And then once I know how many changes of scene they're going to be, I start going in on the line level and on the actual breakdown level of like, what are the details I need for those scenes? What are the details the characters will need to move between those scenes? And how can it all tie together to have a conclusion? Which I have to imagine, but it's probably incorrect, but I imagine that must be like level design and knowing like if your game only has 5 locations versus if it has 15 locations, it changes your relationship.
I mean, ultimately, I would argue you know the true final shape of your game when you call it done and you just stop working on it. Like
Not
that's like
finished.
the definitive answer. But,
Not finished but abandoned.
But yeah. But to put it into the terms that you did, it's so like in terms of game design, you have like the initial concept of it, right? And then there's like a whole bunch of like, we call it like the brainstorm phase where everyone's like, hey, what about this idea? And what about this idea? And from my perspective, because a lot of the time I'm the one who has to like implement the like code for a lot of, for this stuff, I'm kind of like, okay, like I'm automatically prioritizing different stuff. And I'm like, okay, this has to be in there for sure. And this is like questionable, right? So then you do an iteration, right? And then you test it. And then you see what's working and what's not. And then
What are the difference between your two roles? Like what compared to what he's doing there, what are you doing at the same time? Because you both talked about being up too late, working in
I
parallel.
mean, I'm more focused on the art side. So, and like implementing stuff that the artists or sound designer have made. And then like just making costumes and like I do a lot of setup in Unity using the stuff that Skillman's built. But yeah,
And for the
we
layperson,
do sort of work on like
yeah,
the same things but from different directions.
imagine a person who is listening to the show, or dear listener, who is used to thinking about anything I imagine I just described, right? And then someone else's job is to render it. But you basically have to make the idea physical in the world of the game.
or virtual.
Virtual, yeah. Virtually, physically virtual.
Virtual manifestation.
How does that actually happen? What are the actual steps that go into something like that? If I want to be a guy in a duck costume, walk me through it. Because you took it for granted. You're like, obviously, this is what happens in game. But to a person who has never once coded anything and had it happen in a virtual space.
I think what he's asking is about like rigging and modeling stuff. So
Yes, I need the vernacular.
That's his side of the equation.
Yeah.
So,
So like for the characters, I sculpt them in a like digital modeling program. I'm using like a drawing tablet.
Yeah.
And then from there, I need to simplify the model, and so that it can actually run in the game.
So you're drawing it first, like as a 2D object?
No, I don't draw it. I just go straight to sculpting.
So you're sculpting it in 3D.
Yeah.
What program are you using for that?
ZBrush.
It's ZBrush, yeah.
Yeah.
Is it Z or Z?
I say Z because I'm stubborn.
Because you're stubborn. Okay. All right. That's good. So I'm not wrong that I've heard it called ZBrush and then I used the word. You
Yeah,
want
people hate it when I say ZBrush, but
Oh, this is
that's okay.
a direct assault on anyone listening, is
Yeah.
what you're saying. Calling it ZBrush. I see. Okay, so you're
Fine.
sculpting it in 3D.
I find it to be quite funny. So it's like this is like one of those things. Like part of a quick divergence. One of the things you asked about is the consensus thing.
Yeah.
And that honestly, I would argue, comes from the fact that like it's been like 8 years we've worked together, and it's like okay, you see each other every day, and you know, and like like we have similar like aesthetic taste in things, and like you just like when something's good, you just will kind of agree to it because you have like
Yeah.
because you just all like the same stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
So you make a duck.
Yeah.
You sculpt a duck.
Sculpt
Then
a
you have
duck.
to simplify it.
Yeah, simplify it, and then you do what's called baking, where you take the higher density version and you basically project it through the low density version. So
Sarah, if you're listening, I'm tracking this conversation because of a conversation you and I had once. Yeah.
and then that becomes a texture, just an image, right?
Yeah.
And you use that to then paint on the model to give it like, you know, color and whatnot. And then after that, I rig it, which is basically just giving a skeleton to the body because you can't animate it without a rig. And yeah, it basically looks like a human skeleton. Each joint tells where each vertex should move. Then, yeah, send it to an animator. He moves all those parts around.
When does the decision, like, so for example, your main character, Joe, he doesn't have what I would consider to be typical human proportions, right? He's a little bit stretched and comical. He's got a bit of an Ichabod Crane vibe while he's running around.
Yeah.
And there had to be a decision at one point to change the character for the sake of obviously the laugh, right? And you're smiling, so I know there was a moment when you decided we should make him look worse.
Yeah. And that, you know, that came with some challenges.
As an Ichabod, I'm allowed to say things like this, speaking for my people.
Yeah, the original character was already rigged and like textured and everything, and then trying to use that rig to apply to like a weird duck outfit that's like strange proportions, and it ended up. It was complicated, but it ended up working well because there was like an issue with making the rig that caused the butt of the costume to wiggle and when it moved. And
it's so
was just
good
like,
though.
like, yeah.
Wait, that was an
works.
accident that it wiggled a little?
Yeah, it was an accident. And
That
then,
you just decided.
and then like
that's
once I saw it, I like
It's so funny.
leaned into it a bit. So
So you added a little weight, a little heaviness to the wiggle.
that's exactly what it was, adding more weight. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So the happy accident became
There were a lot
part of the design.
Yeah.
That's like a core component of any creative process.
I agree with you.
Oh, yeah.
It's
sure.
not possible to
Yeah.
do anything. And
Yeah.
yeah.
We say around here a lot that style is the mistake you make all the time.
Yeah. Well, it's the mistake that you don't correct.
Yeah.
And like, you know, the overall aesthetics are just
Like a wabi-sabi.
yeah.
So tell me then about some things that you found by accident, but then decided were core to the process. Like you found on the way that you should not have a barista level, right? You found on the way that the duck's butt should wiggle more. You found on the way that he should look more like Ichabod and less like a normal person.
We were talking about this a couple yesterday morning, I think. There's like some changes that we made to the game relatively late that were actually like it's mind-blowing to think that we did not have them in there before. Initially, we did not have the espressos, like the little coffees that you pick up that instantly
Give you the boost. Yeah.
yeah, and I cannot imagine the design of the game working like the way that we balance difficulty and stuff. I can't even imagine the game without those now, because the big coffees were like there from the beginning, and what they do is they completely refill your health slash stamina, and if that's all that you have in the game, then it's basically like a free life. Right. It's just like run as far as you can and get a complete new life every time you get one of those.
It's funny you say that because in the early iterations that I played, it felt like the one-up in Mario.
Mhm.
Like I would get it and I'd be like, I'd have a moment to breathe. I'd be like, yes, okay, I can take a breath to look around and figure out where I'm going to run next because I can take a hit now. Yeah.
Well, the other thing too, and you briefly touched on this, when you're talking about the platformers and how your sons kind of show you up with them is
They would say they own me.
well, I mean, the thing is that the espressos also give they're another, we'll say, like dynamic in the design language of the game to like direct the player. And using the large coffees is almost too powerful to just cue the player in a direction, and not having anything for them to pick up is not enough direction. Um, so like what you said about platformers, I would say that actually like reaction time isn't as important, but like actually the most important skill of platformers is a part of it is mechanical mastery, but like mostly it's understanding the design language of the game. How well can you understand the language of platformers? That's what will determine how well you do at them. Well, in combination with the mechanics.
Look up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's a duck.
I'm curious, you brought it up, the notion of how players responded. When you're designing a game, I have to imagine that the first players of any version of the game are you guys. And it's kind of the unfair advantage of knowing what it's supposed to be, right? And if movement gives shape to form, then you guys, in a way, I have to imagine, are the worst people to play the game objectively.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, that's why like when we started getting people to actually play test it, I think we made some pretty huge leaps in terms of how like the quality of the game.
Yeah. So what happy accidents happened as a result of players finally ruining all of your hard work?
Can't think of any specific thing. A lot of the more like happy accident type of stuff that we discovered was like while we were like going through it, because like at this point it's like 900 hours of like going through something. It's like, okay, like I don't know, there's stuff like there's some movement tech in there that it's kind of like the Super Mario long jump, where if you're like accelerating and you jump, you can like fling yourself forward at a speed that's faster than like Joe's normal movement speed, and there's like ways to manipulate that, so it kind of becomes like it has the feel of like a racing game where you're like basically like using the physics engine to like rocket yourself through the game. And like that, I don't know, like the way that watching other people play it is interesting, because like the way that I play it like I'm like the T9000. Like I'm like the zombies are like an afterthought, and I am here to get that coffee and like get through that level, and anything that gets in the way is probably going to regret it.
Yeah, you're describing a good portion of my convention life right now. Right? This is just what happened. I remember a moment when we were playing earlier, in an early version. I don't have the vernacular for what you call those early beta tests, I guess. My sons were here at that time too, and you said something. I jumped well out of map that like crashed the game, and you said at that time something along the lines of, "Why would you jump over that? That's not where the game is going." And both my sons started laughing, because that's all I do in video games, is see how big the map actually is I just want to explore. It doesn't matter who designed the game or what they want me to do in the game. I want to know, can I get to the top of that building somehow? Is that possible? And it kept crashing stuff. But then when we played not long after that, and I jumped, there was a little wall.
Oh yeah,
There was something there,
Mhm.
and it was now obvious that like, oh, I can't go that way, but I could still land there for a moment, and it put me just out of reach for a second early, and then I had to keep going. And it was such an interesting moment for me to be like, I know what I'm going to do when they come back, because I'm going to jump in that same hole and see if they build it. And sure enough, it was fixed.
Yeah.
Right. So, how much of that is out of like self-preservation of the game, and how much of it is like we have to design an environment for the players?
What do you mean by self-preservation?
Well, like I would jump out of bounds and it crashed the game. So like,
Well, I mean, you're just gonna have a bad time then.
Yeah, like so you can explore in this game, and there are multiple paths that are that are to be discovered, I guess. The thing is that you're in the zombie apocalypse. Exploration is dangerous, like you have to have enough like the exploration is the reward, right? It's not like, oh, you explore and then you find the secret, and that's the no.
you lived long enough to get over there. That's
Yeah,
half of a reward.
yeah, you found it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that to me has always been like, that's a thing that to me as a player of games, that is what I like. I don't. I am not super like I don't like the idea of exploration as a form of grind. Like I want it to be like, no, you managed to get here, yeah, like awesome, right? Like getting to here and going through the crazy thing and pulling it off and be like, whoa, that was sick, is way more rewarding than like most other stuff. We also give you costumes for doing that.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty good reward. The aesthetic is quite.
So wait, can I look like something more than a duck? Are there different ducks now?
There's different duck costumes.
There's more than one duck?
I was surprised you weren't more excited when I initially mentioned this.
But
I first thought like maybe you get to look like a businessman, or I didn't realize there would be more foul play. That is exciting.
boo.
Producer never likes puns. Never likes puns. Here's something I want to talk about in the environment that I found impressive from the jump. Even when my character couldn't jump all that well, one thing that was amazing in the design I thought was the lighting and the fire effects and these cinematic moments where like you turn a corner and like something would explode in the distance and it would cast these terrifying shadows from the which, you know, when you're talking about making all the steps that go into making anything appear in the world, that means none of that is by accident. That's all by design. So what was the filmic references? Dear listener, Skillen has just shown me a number of duck costumes.
Oh, that's just the tip of the iceberg.
That shimmery golden duck. That is what I want. Oh my gosh. Although what happened to that gore splattered poor? Oh man. I want that one. Okay. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
It's funny how the aesthetic changes your relationship with the character instantly, right? And I mean, we're not by no means is this cutting edge to give people options of what they look like when they charge through a game. But it works really well. But I want to talk about that lighting. The lighting, the fire, the horror elements, because it's like ultimately ridiculous. Pumpkin spice zombies and you're a duck running from them. But then there are these like, oh God, oh God, oh God moments.
Well, what horror movie isn't ridiculous?
There's a lot. I could
Like-
make you a list. Don't start this battle with me.
No,
Skillen.
it's a rhetorical question, but the thing, one of the things that we were like talking about, or like one of the things that like we kind of had to go over a little bit is it's like John was actually like, oh, is this a horror game or is it funny? And I was like, you know, the two of those are a razor thin margin from each other at all points. So in that regards, like in a lot of ways, like most horror games are always on the brink of becoming hilarious.
Yeah.
It's just how well do you handle like the play back and forth, and like realistically, it's like when you're playing the game, it can be quite stressful, and then then you're like looking at like something absurd happening, and then it's just like the pure absurdity of it just becomes like overwhelmingly hilarious. The number of times where I've been watching somebody play and then just like, you know, they'll be like, oh, I'm getting chased, right? And then like out of nowhere, like the big boy just like comes in and just slams them into the ground and just devours them. It's so good.
I actually get pretty tense watching other people play.
No,
than
but
when I play.
Come on, you've got a coffee, drink it.
it's because you know what they should be doing. Is that part of
No,
it?
not just that, just like the close calls. Yeah, I don't know. It just
One of the sequences that I really love from the early play, which I know survived, is that there's this storytelling element where you turn the corner and there's like a fuel truck on fire.
Oh yeah.
And so then you have to run away. Like obviously the way is blocked, but when it explodes, all that fuel has poured down into the sewer that you have run in to hide.
Yeah.
And so all this flaming fuel is like pouring into this cramped location. So it's no longer like just dodge the things.
Yeah.
It's like fire is also here now. And
all the zombies are on fire.
and all the zombies are on fire as they're coming. But there's a cause and effect relationship between the path you've taken and the story that's being told that then elevates the reason to run faster. Like, oh my God, I have to go faster. I have to go faster. It's not just if I get this token, I go faster.
I mean, you always have to go faster, but this, I think, just like amplifies it a bit.
Do you like see what I see? A talking duck? Yeah, that's it. I've been doing too much toot. Shoot! Fly away!
No one laughs at a master of quack fu.
How many levels are there in the game?
There are 10 levels.
There are 10 levels.
Yeah, plus tutorial.
So give me some highlights that are like that fuel storytelling moment.
It's hard to just like list them off the top of my head. Do you want to just like know my favorite like parts? Of the
Obviously,
levels?
yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Like I'm just gonna take this as a as a carte blanche to just talk about the level that I like the most.
Please do.
It is level 8, and I don't know if I want to spoil what it is.
Spoil it.
Okay.
Spoil it.
So it's a secret lab, and I love level 8 because it is the best level. Level 9 is also near and dear to my heart, but level 8 has 2 splitting paths that loop back. So it's like a figure 8, and then when you complete both sides, you go basically up the middle, and then it breaks into two halves again, and they meet in this huge, like, super cool like room.
So you'll feel lost, but as long as you're running, you'll be okay.
Yeah, don't fight the camera. And just like run towards the coffee like everything else in the game. But like there's just, for instance, there is a transformation sequence that I made that I wrote the code for. At least I didn't make all the visual effects, but the zombies, when they're exposed to this substance, transform into the large zombies. And if you're running nonstop, like in the easier modes, you have enough of the big coffees and enough of like the special coffees that you can kind of just like power past all of this. But like in the more difficult, like in hard mode, for instance, you have to like be more judicious about your coffee usage, and you like see those guys like transform when they're exposed to the substance, and there's something about that I just love. There's a sequence where you run past a bunch of containment cells, and then the zombies like smash out and like chase after you, which is like just so good. There's like zombies in like cryopods and like zombies on beak hooks in cold storage.
I love the meat hook one.
Yeah,
it's really good.
It's like just that level has like so much stuff that I'm just like, this is all of like the campy horror kind of like BS that I love, like all the schlock, but like you're actually like afraid for your life because these stupid like, you know, glowing orange ghouls are chasing after you, and it's just like, whoa. So I don't know, I just think like that blend of like kind of the horror movie tropes mixed with like actually like, because like even 1 or 2 zombies will just like smoke you if you just let them.
Yeah, because it's not a fighting game, it's an escaping game.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Which I think is often missed. Like I said, I play a lot of video games with my kids, and the zombie games are all the same kind of zombie game.
Yeah,
fine.
People expect you to be shooting zombies.
Yeah. And so eventually you get confident that there is no danger as long as you have competence. Whereas your game is the opposite as a platformer, where no amount of competence will matter once your coffee runs out.
The number of people that I've seen play, and they're like, "Oh, just wait till I get the gun." And I was like, like as the developer who specifically was like, "We will not have like the design being, we will not have a gun. This is not a game of well, you can kill zombies, but it has to be done through environmental traps. You have to like use agility, essentially." Like it's so funny to me where like they slowly, and it like the arc is like this. Oh, just wait till I get the gun into the. I don't think this is the kind of game where I'm gonna get a gun. Into like, oh, like I'm gonna juke you so hard, you know.
Where's
like
my gun?
yeah, exactly.
Now it does have this very amusingly unreliable slapping mechanic.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's pretty reliable now.
No, but what I mean is like it almost seems like you included it to give players a false sense of security for an instant before they're overrun and killed.
That slap has a very specific space within the design of the game. Okay, like we have essentially 3 mechanics, 4 if you count jumper, right? You have the running and coffee drinking. you have the coffee beans, and you have the slap. So if you're getting swarmed by a big boy and he's just on you and just clobbering you, you can either throw a bean to like redirect him away from you, which is a limited resource, and like we get like there's depends on the level you're in, right? Like you can't rely on that. But you can slap that zombie and knock him down for a couple seconds in order to create space. It is a space creation tool. The thing is that you cannot knock down multiple zombies. The bean is essentially the AoE distraction,
Right.
and the slap is the single target.
For the dear listener area of effect.
Yes, yes, for affecting multiple enemies at once. When you have a crowd and you need to get rid of a crowd, you throw the bean. The slap is for when you have like a row of zombies running at you and you're like, I need to make a hole. That's how you make a hole.
Yeah.
And that's
Flap
like,
your wings.
exactly. And
So you're always trying to run afoul of the zombies.
You already used that one.
No, I used foul, but run afoul is a conjunction of two pun-related activities. Executive producer in the background booing my fun. You listen. I needed to have a quack at it. No, you're not nothing.
oh, the sleep deprivation and the
Perfect. I want to talk about this.
saturation of puns.
Yesterday, it launched.
Mhm.
What are the things that happen that go wrong a moment before you have to release the game into the wild? Did you have like a bunch of oh shits?
Well, Steam tells you that you have not implemented Steam Cloud into your game, even though you have implemented Steam Cloud into your game. And then I went into a fugue state, and then Mike went berserk and and got the game approved. So you know, like it is what it is. Like there's that. That was the big one, I think.
Yeah. In terms of the actual build, I think everything that could have gone wrong went wrong earlier.
Yeah.
And then you got to finish. But then in the
Yeah, this is like week 5 of like
Trying-
10-hour work days, no days off, you know, like so.
but this isn't what you would typically consider crunch because the game is sort of finished at this point, right? You're just trying to make it now be available to people.
Well,
I like. Please challenge my
at
ignorance.
this point, like the crunch is like the last month and a half or so. But like it wasn't like a particularly bad crunch. It's just like honestly, I imagine like with any project that you have like a deadline for and it's like this big deal and there's like things that can go wrong and it's like it's not just like, oh, you have the draft of your story written. It's like, oh, well, we're getting like a special printed edition and they messed up the embossed cover with the like UV printing effect, blah blah blah.
Funny you mentioned that.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's almost like I've seen that side of the process. It's much more like that where you're like, okay, now we need to scramble in order to like, oh well, you have to like adjust the print files and then like
Yeah.
get the new thing and then
And because the deadline is set
yeah.
to then the only time available now is whatever time is left on your side of the clock, that deadline, which means
It's got to make a
sleep.
couple extra
You gotta
hours.
carve your sleep out. You gotta get up early. You gotta like skip your lunch. You gotta, and you don't want to do any of those things, but there's no choice.
Look, just make a 26-hour day. It's that easy.
It's that easy. Well, the only way to do it usually in a team is to add another person to the team. That's the only way to add available hours. But you guys don't have that option.
Right. I don't think that would have helped either.
Adding
Because that's
Bit-
more complication.
See, the band's called Cherry Bomb, and well, we've been playing in these grungy mungholes, waiting for our big break.
last time we were talking about like coordinating efforts, right? But it's like, okay, having more people working on the same thing creates more problems because there's more chance of two people overwriting the same thing and causing more problems, and then it's like a huge headache. So like realistically towards
because you're both essentially adding elements to the final draft.
Yeah.
Right. And so
So at the end it was just the two of us basically working directly on the project.
Yeah.
What is going to happen to you now that you don't have this unrepenting, unrelenting, cohabited mental space? Do you know? Have you sought counseling for the separation you will feel from one another?
Uh,
Are you ready?
It's not exactly it's not exactly like that. It's more like
I'm going to say, from someone on a film set who has seen people work crunch, essentially, it's exactly like that. People go into deep voids of depression when suddenly all the people they've come to rely on, 80, 90 hours in the week are no longer a part of their lives on the regular.
this is so I should elaborate on this. The thing is that it's a little bit different. It's a lot more like, wow, I'm off in the wilderness alone, and everything is like hinging on like, do I get this thing done? And then occasionally it's like you like we briefly coordinate with each other. Like it's not like we're in constant contact. It's like we'll have like a 5-minute call or like 10-minute call, coordinate everything, and then it's like, okay, now I got to get back to like all of these things that are like crushing. So it's like a lot more like isolating.
But Willie Nelson said it best, right? You're always on my mind. Right? You're now you don't have to be. What's going to happen now that it's released? What happens, because I assume now that once the game is out, you can't make changes to it. There may be a patch or two that has to happen.
We have changes in the
Yeah.
works. For sure.
Yeah.
Steam exists. Like, yeah. This is not the old days of like the CDs in the box. Like,
Right.
yeah,
But you make updates. There's
Yeah.
bugs that need fixing. There's
refinements here and there.
So you won't be free of each other. There's no way to be free.
No, that's why I said the only way to be done is you stop working on
You
it.
stop working on it. So I've been told, a little birdie told me that at least 100+ streamers have signed up to try the game out.
Oh, that's
you-
great news.
Right?
Yeah.
Have you? Is that news to you? You don't know that?
No, I knew that.
Oh, you did know that.
I'm just saying it's great.
Yeah, it's great news. Now, I have an interesting relationship, or I think it's interesting. Other people just call it normal. I have a relationship with the idea of the critic, which is you don't want one. But in video games, it's almost like a necessary ecosystem of like the people playing the game are going to give feedback to how it is, like, because it's never finished. Like the book is the book. I can't change a page in it. So somebody's opinion of it, whether it's good or bad, there's a difference between good and favorite. And so I just have to accept that there'll be people who hate the work and people who like the work, and that I have nothing more to do with it. If I could reach into their bookshelves and alter things forever, I might never stop. How do you do that? How will you know when to quit?
It's really, you don't achieve perfection, right? But like you like aim for it and like hope for excellence, right? Like
Mhm.
try to make something good.
so it's like if there's something that you can tell is like clearly causing problems, then this is where it becomes like almost like collaborative, right? Where it's like if something is clearly detrimental to the game and it is a negative experience and everybody hates it, you want to like correct that so that they don't feel that same way, right? So it's like you need to have like a healthy, constructive, like you need to be able to work with constructive criticism and filter out the noise.
Yeah.
And so the constructive criticism is like oftentimes like we're, I think, quite critical of like the thing at like ourselves, and we're like, oh, that's broken or whatever, and someone's like, oh no, it's fine. It's like, yeah, but like this isn't the vision.
Yeah.
So what happens though is like you fix it, like it's exactly like every other iteration of the game. You see that something is wrong, and then you fix it, and then you see if that worked, and hopefully it did, and if it doesn't, then you just try different stuff.
How close to the vision is it now?
We need to fix it needs minor refinement.
Yeah.
Needs minor refinement.
Gotta polish it some more.
Yeah. And then adding in like a couple of extra things that just we didn't have time to get in. But like honestly the vision is there. Like you can tell it. You can experience it.
Right.
Like the biggest thing that stands out to me right now is like some of the cameras get like still janked around and stuff, but like we have so many cameras and you have to like sometimes people do quite unexpected things, or they want to go and and
Yes,
in
I
weird
do.
places, and then we need to like figure out how to kill them when they're like off the track. Like
Punish there.
To adjust cameras, you actually have to play through the game and until you get to that point, and then like move the camera around, and then like stop playing, play it again, see how the transition from the previous camera works.
it's very
And
time.
it takes a long time. So
And you're just playing the game as a player, which means sometimes you are also getting it wrong because you don't have a sweeping power. You're just playing it through, so you have to try it over. You can't duck
I mean,
that
we can start
responsibility.
other zombies while we're playing through in the editor. So
In some ways, though, it's even worse because the game that you play is like the it's much more optimized. We're playing it in the editor where it's like slow and like things just get like laggy and it becomes much more difficult, and yeah, it's very time intensive to like fully refine all of that.
So if we're working in InDesign in a really image heavy book, it's it's an enormous web of all the connections to all the files and all the design elements and all that kind of stuff. But when you flip through it, once it finally exists as a real object, you flip through it and none of that weight is in your way. The ability to change things is now gone, and you just see it as it is. Those arcs and print proofs are so vital to feel like it is the thing you want. And so is the equivalent of that watching someone play it in the normal play mode, or is it playing it yourself in that mode?
Both.
Yeah.
Either or. I don't know. Like I've played the game. Like I have like 90 something hours in the game just this past like week or two. So like no.
yeah.
I don't know, man. It's to the point where it's like, yeah, I play the game a lot. But I'm also like it actually seeing other people play it is like really enjoyable. Because I played it so much that I'm just like I am excited for someone to hopefully get to the point where they are able to play the game at a high skill level. Like I said, you should be running through like the Terminator, and like you should feel like you own kind of the space that you're in. And I want to see somebody do that more than I am capable of, which I know is possible.
Watch out!
Jump, Howard! This is our only chance!
Get out of there! Duck!
And proud of it!
Have you watched any complete strangers play the game?
Yep.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were watching a few Twitch streamers last night.
Tell me about that.
Cool, yeah.
What was that like for your poor nerves?
Oh, I don't know. Like
I mean,
At
I
this
was
point-
afraid at that point.
yeah, at this point, it's like between the sleep deprivation and seeing everything possible go wrong, like you don't really have any kind of like anxiety about it anymore. It's just kind of like, oh yeah, okay, I see you. Like we got to move that coffee over there to help you like do this.
It was whatever. It was a relief seeing one of them actually just beat the game.
Yeah.
And unlock like most of the costumes. That was cool.
So you knew it was possible, which means others will know. Okay, I have a
Like,
question.
well, I've done it.
Yeah.
I've done it every single day.
Well, of course you did it. I know how my books end too. That's not.
Yeah, but it's different. Have you sat down and read your book from start to finish
Yes, you have.
every day after it's published?
Yes, look at poor Jonathan over there. You have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before it's published, you got to read it nonstop. That's why so many authors will not read their work anymore.
That's
Right.
fair. That's
Right.
fair.
They're done with it. It is dead to them, and they must move on, or else the carcass of their own imagination, they're just wearing that from now on.
Yeah.
Right. Now I have to ask a question. If that's the question that I want to revisit as I bring you on the show later. We're just at launch.
Yeah.
Right. And you're just watching streamers play it. I want to ask, as the designers of this experience, does it seem weird to you that your game is now content? Because there'll be lots of people who watch, and there are millions of people who watch Twitch streamers who will never play the games they're watching.
I mean, not really. Look, this is like asking like a 15-year-old if it's weird that they are never going to experience the world without social media. It's like,
Yeah.
like
No, that's not what I'm asking. What I'm asking is We're being handed something from beyond the desk here. Will this change?
Oh, cool.
What news did you receive? What just happened? Breaking news.
Disgusting picked it up.
Yeah.
Bloody disgusting. Just this instant.
Yeah, they published a thing on it.
And
No, it's great. It's like it's actually a great. It's hilarious to read it.
That's all. I actually played it.
Yeah.
dear listener, breaking news.
So here's what I'm getting at though, right? Like it's like being like, oh, is it it's kind of like asking the equivalent would be like, okay, you write a book and then the book is made into a movie, right? And then and then it's like, well, how do you feel about the fact that someone made a movie out of your book and whatever? Like, I don't know, I think it's great. It's awesome. I'm happy, and I hope that some of those people either are inspired by it or buy it. Preferably if they preferably buy the game, right? That's really like.
But being inspired by it is enough for you.
Yeah. No,
We're going to revisit this question a few times over the course of your lives as this game comes out, because I'm curious to see if that relationship with the audience is altered. Not because I have a gotcha related to it. I'm legitimately curious because it's such a different medium than the printed word.
Well, I don't know. It doesn't seem that strange because I mean, I spend a lot of time watching people play games on Twitch. I'm just part of that.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I play games while watching people play those games.
It's just a part of the culture.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like,
but I'm an outsider in that culture, so I'm curious. I'm the anthropologist here.
It's like one of the goals.
Yeah.
For some game is to have people stream it.
Well, it's like, if you're reading a book, is it good to you if someone just reads your book and doesn't talk about it to anybody?
Sure.
Right? It's okay.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah. In fact, if they read it.
Yeah.
Because that's its purpose is to be read. You write to be read.
But it's then like asking like, well, how do you feel about people who read the book and talk about it to each other?
Yeah.
Like that's cool though. That's it's like a different thing. It's like, I have no control over it, like what they think about it, but like it's cool to hear what other people think about the things you make. Like that's part of why I make things.
Okay, so that's on that point, and this is my last point before we wrap up for today, is I will often talk about the notion that publishing is the byproduct of writing, not the point of writing. And because writing is such a solitary pursuit, I think that holds true, right? Like you can explore a huge part of your human being by just writing a book, even if no one ever wants to read it. Publishing is the byproduct. But with games, playing is what brings them to life.
Yeah.
Right? That is what makes them essentially real.
It's a dialogue. Game design is fundamentally a dialogue, and it's dialogue done asynchronously. So you need to see someone play your game to see if, right, like it's like you're writing down a message to somebody, and you're hoping that they understand it, and you have something to measure, to actually measure whether or not they understood it. You know, either they like complete the game or like complete the objective, or they don't. And it's like you're on one side and you're behind like a mirror, and you're like sending messages to someone that you don't even know. And so in that regard, I would almost say like the publishing and playing of it, and then observing, like watching people play it is actually incredibly important to game design. I don't think you can really do it. Well, I mean, you can do it, but it doesn't work very well if you don't have that kind of...
The most analogous conversation I've had to this moment in my life talking to other creatives is talking to people who work in theater. That there's the moment where the audience interacts and is present in that moment, and that's what you're after. And you can't bottle that. You can't really show it. You can record it if you want, but people who weren't there don't really understand it. It's that's interesting. Well, gentlemen, I am so proud of you for finishing Strange Brew, which is now available on Steam. Right? If you are an old person and you want to give it to a young person, you can buy a Steam gift card and give it to a young person and write "for Strange Brew only" on that gift card. If you are in the gaming culture, why don't you explain to people how they can best get at it?
You go to Steam. You type in Strange Brew.
Yeah.
If if you want to specifically give somebody Strange Brew, you can buy a copy, mark it as gift for a friend or whatever, and then you can just directly gift it to your friends. No gift card necessary. You don't have to redeem stuff.
Right. Amazing. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming on to talk. We're going to visit the tumultuous process of having your art in the world a few times this year. So hopefully you're willing to come back and unburden yourselves or burden me with it. This has been Jerry Kamichuk, encouraging you all to, well, get Strange Brew on Steam, but also join the fight and make comics.